with my, that's what you call perhaps reliability, Microsoft reliability. But I did some tweaking. I just copied if I may, I just copied the images and then the video showing it to you. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Al Mario Epifanio from the Philippines. My university is Bulacan State University. I'm a faculty member and now the research coordinator for our university. I have been given the post 3 months ago. But this project was, this paper was presented at my university last year, 2011. After which I sent it to many universities including Petronas. Last October, and I was notified I will be participating. And it is an honor for me to be here. It's a pleasure to be among guys. I've learned a lot the past 3 days. Now, the title of my paper is Hanggat Pampanga River Manila Bay Ecosystem Renewable Energy Research and Development Project. Although it is quite long, but it is just harvesting electricity and hydrogen fuel cells from rivers and coastal water ecosystems. Now let me briefly explain the terms. Hanggat or angat in Filipino means something elevated. It's a place that is elevated. So Pampanga is Pampang. Okay, Pampang is the coastal area, somewhere that is lower. Now, from my university, if I may show it first and foremost, this is my university. We are here, that's the Luzon Island. So water flows from the mountain, then through the river, and then Angat River. Now near our university, just about 200 meters from our university, and then goes down after so many kilometers into the Manila Bay project, or the Manila Bay. Now let me start first by saying something about the Philippines. Now the Philippines, as you know, has been jokingly called, even in my country, the sick man of Asia, because we could never get off. We look at nations around us and they're roaring like tigers. They call us kittens back home, because we're ambivalent. I mean, ambivalence in the sense that we're Asian, but we think like not Asians. But the population in my country right now is 118 million with a growth rate of 1.9. The per capita income in my country is $3.5. As compared to other countries, this is relatively low, so that we are ranked 162nd. As per GNI, we are ranked 118th. Now the people in my country, 32.9% is below poverty line. That's 33.5 million, and according to the UN Human Development Index, we are around 112. So that's the picture of where I came from. Now, Hanggat Pampanga River is the Philippines' second largest river system, which has a catchment area of 9,759 square kilometers. But it has 260 kilometers of waterways draining into the Manila Bay. If you look at the diagram on top, that is the Angat Dam. Okay, that is a hydroelectric. It is somewhere about 20 to 30 kilometers from my campus, and it has a hydroelectric plant with about a 200 megawatt capacity. Now it is something like this. Angat River is part of the Pampanga River system. It flows down towards the sea. Now there are 2 dams, okay, big dams. One in the mountains and one is in the other part of the island, that's Luzon. Now they drain, both of them drain down to Manila Bay. Now, 2 days before I traveled to Malaysia, brownouts were starting to occur in the Philippines 2 days ago, and there may be more. So Manila Bay also has an area of 1,994 kilometers and a 190-kilometer coastline. Now, many people would say in my country and perhaps anywhere in the world that when you have built a dam, so that's it. You have tapped everything there is. Hydro has stopped. But I go from my place to the university 3 times a day, about 3 kilometers from the university. So I pass by the river across a bridge almost 3 to 4 times every day. So as I pass by, an idea came to me. I go to my university, I spend petrol for petrol. And then here is the river. It goes on forever without spending anything. So there's energy in the river, even if the current is slow. So this is my campus, Bulacan State University Bustos campus. And this is what I fabricated last year. I call it the bioreactor prototype. It is not similar to the bioreactor. I mean, when I presented it, why bio? It is just a term for me to indicate that it is biomechanical, it is bio-environmental friendly. So it's more of a catchphrase to incorporate the essence of the product. So I presented it. This was me presenting the small prototype. I could have brought it here, but then I was afraid that people from the immigration will think of what I'm bringing and to confiscate it. So I left it at home. So the researcher, this is me demonstrating also the hydrogen collection unit at the university in an in-house review last year. Okay? So my basic idea is to harness now what is left of the river current, we call it run of the river, and then harness it to acquire what is normally wasted energy. Now in the things that I'm doing, I'm using a formula. This is a formula which is not really known to everybody. It's just a guide for me. And at my university, I started talking about this formula 2 years ago, and I'm telling my students, this is the TEC formula, the TEQ formula. It is, my name is Al, and then my students will tell, oh, that's the Einstein formula. It's a modification of the Einstein formula. It is a derivation of Einstein's equals mc squared, where it says that energy can be transported back to mass, and then mass can be transported back to energy. So I just made a slight modification where T is equal to EQ, where T is thought propulsion is equal to the engineering creativity and something that is faster than light, or quantum speed of thoughts. This is just very simple. I'm now the research coordinator, and I'm working on 30 research projects, and I'm encouraging people with me to do researches. This is just a way for me to be able to communicate that you cannot do research if you do not have quantum of thought. You must have, your thoughts must be like in a jet propulsion now. It must be fast, it must be moving. There must be tremendous mass of your thoughts. So you need to accumulate knowledge and then equate it now to engineering creativity. You slow down your thoughts, like in a photon. This is what Einstein is saying. A photon of light is traveling, you slow it down, it becomes mass. So the thoughts in our minds are basically, I said, this is the action that I'm presenting. It is faster than light. Internally, there are neurons, right? And they are traveling by electricity. I mean, electricity travels as fast as light. But I say that thoughts are faster than light. But from the earth to the center of the universe, outside the universe, the human thought can communicate with the creator of the universe. In an instant, it goes from the neurons outside. So this is just a form for me to show the background of where I draw strength from my research. The significance of the study, if I may present, this study will help the countries too much dependence on fossil fuel for energy generation. Now we are 66.76 dependent on oil, coal, natural gas. Geothermal, hydro, bio, solar, and wind, that's only about 33.24%. This is the picture in my country. Now the question is, if the fossil fuel becomes unavailable due to the lack of supply or high prices, what will happen? This is what will happen to us. Remember, 1 in every 3 in my nation is below the poverty line. Those who are rich and can afford generators will not be affected. But 1 out of 3 will have a hard time. This is what will happen. From the installed capacity of around 16,359 megawatts, if all of these non-renewables get depleted, we only have remaining 5,309 megawatts. Slide 8 to 14. Now this is the picture of pipe production. We don't have oil. Okay. The Philippines coal production. We have very little coal production. And this is leveling off. But this is our consumption. This is our production. Now we only rely heavily on natural gas because we have lots of natural gas in the Philippines. It's in 3.9 trillion cubic meters. But at the rate that we're using it right now, in 38 years we will run out of natural gas. So this is now the picture where my country. And we're using natural gas to generate electricity. Now we are left now with the future challenge for renewable energy. So renewable energy has to step up. And then the graph will show that in my country, renewable energy, although it is increasing, as indicated by the green line, it is increasing at a very slow rate. So it could never, at the pace that we are doing right now, we're going to have problems in 2 decades time or even faster. Hydro, it increased, but somehow in year 2005, 2008 to 2009, it leveled off. No more hydro production. Geothermal is the same. There is an increase, but this is a supply demand increases. So we are running out of time, and then we expect more brownouts, higher electricity prices in the future. In my country, 1 out of 3 lives below the poverty line. That's really very bad, and it has serious social implications. I'm in Malaysia and I can travel safely at night. I mean, I'm at peace. But in my country, you travel at night because of the poor economic condition, there are big social implications. And now the question now being raised is whether new reserves can be discovered. Energy for us means life. Electricity is life for us. Now, I'm having discussions with my students, and they say, the consensus that we have is that the hope of my country does not lie with politicians because they've been politicking all throughout, we're going down. Our advocacy is that the hope of our nation is in the academic and the researchers in the academic students. Now, the renewable energy profile, the river runs only at, in my place, 3.9 meters per second. It's good for micro-hydro projects. And the wind, it's very slow. It is not suitable for power generation as per the data provided by NREL and the Department of Energy in the Philippines. But then, that is now the impetus why I fabricated the volume reactor. This is just a small device. You don't need RPMs to really generate electricity. You only need to toggle it to fractional rotation, and then it generates electricity. The LEDs, LEDs here, okay, are blinking that they generate, sorry, Okay, here indicates AC, but then I have a rectifier here, and this is DC. This is just to demonstrate that with minimum horsepower input, I computed it that it is only 0.00113. These are the specifications. I used less than 30 grams of magnet wire and permanent magnets, and the horsepower input, you just use your finger. This is just to demonstrate that with this design, scale it up, and perhaps you can put something in the river. Now these are what I have come up with. These are the specifications. Now, this is the basic plan that I have within the next few years, is to set up from the existing dams here to the Manila Bay. There are 260 kilometers of waterways wasted, not being utilized for hydro. So the plan is to install in the river system that device, bioreactors at chain, many of them, almost 100, but they are micro hydro projects. Combine them with wind. I mean, since this is a device, it's a multi-pole. For the engineers, you know this, that a multi-pole device, you need less RPM. So we deploy it in the river system. Many of them, chain them together, integrate them, and then you have electricity. So the normal strategy, you have the big dams, they send their electricity to the power companies, they integrate, and then they send it back to the communities. So it's some sort of centralized. But utilizing this, what we are doing right now, we plan that each community should have their own power generation project, and instead of sending electricity to the power grid, they utilize the river to generate power for themselves. The fuel cell, unfortunately, we don't have so much fund for that, but then we were able to generate electricity that can hydrolyze water. What I did was just to demonstrate to our university that we can do it. I got a huge syringe, and I placed electrodes in there and make the device work. And then hydrogen is generated. But that is how far I can only go with the resources I have. But then we intend to pursue this in the future, and as I'm getting a lot of ideas from all the other participants, and when I go back home, we could continue on the project. This was August last year. We now have a prototype for deployment in the river. And then we are working now with solar, but we are only using LEDs, not the ordinary the expensive silicone-based panels. We're using LEDs, and we are getting good results. We're also into wind turbines, but then we are not using the big ones. We're using Bangi, Ilocos Norte. Each pole would cost millions of dollars. Now, my design, since this is low RPM, you only have to shake it, it generates electricity. So our plan is to make many small turbines. That's basically we are working with vertical wind turbines. Okay, not the horizontal. It goes like this. And then on the ocean, we plan to, because the bioreactor, as we have called it, you only shake it, it generates electricity. You only shake it, it generates electricity. There is a lever at the back of this, and you just move it forward. Only 2 centimeters, it generates electricity. So this is what we are doing at my campus 1 year ago, and we are going to it now. We are trying to implement it even in the shortage of funds. Okay, so I guess the thing that we are doing right now is minimum fractional power input for maximum energy. So there are 50 river systems in the Philippines. 36,219 kilometers of coastline in 7,100 islands. This is untapped resources. So whenever I see a river, I see energy, and hopefully the possibilities seem endless after today. Thank you very much. Everyone.
I'm very glad to say your presentation is also very energetic, and it has brings a lot of curiosity among us. Welcome for the session. Any questions? Okay, if none, then please
Thank you very much, everybody.
present the certificate of participation to you.
Thank you, sir.